Hello, my dears. This is Resilient Lives, checking in on you to see how your weekend went. It was a very full weekend, as most weekends are usually. Wanting to make sure that you are receiving some love and energy that I'm sharing with you. And so, how's everything going in your life? There is so much going on all the time. And it's so important that we continue to check on each other and do the things that are going to keep us well during these uncertain times. My heart was saddened to learn of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg death. She has been such an awesome woman, serving as Supreme Court for 27 years. She's been around for a very long time, and she's a strong person, and she's been fighting this cancer, and but she exercises, and she's done so many things to live a good, intentional life. She leaves quite a legacy behind, and it just saddened my heart that that she is no longer with us, and so we will hold her family in our hearts. And it just seems to echo that there's so much going on and so many changes that continues to happen and so many losses. And it just helps me to kind of focus on remembering what to do when we are going through all of these things and layer of things that are happening, changes that are happening, things that kind of made your life more stable. Just knowing that she was on the Supreme Court, it just seemed to be a stable point, at least with her there and her vote and knowing what her leanings were. And it just helps me ponder the thought, how do you keep stable in such an unstable environment? We've got a lot going on, and then we have this election coming up, and I don't even know how many days, but it's coming up sooner, and it's a lot going on. The pandemic and how to think about voting. We definitely must vote. And it's just one more thing as the numbers rise. And it just helps us to think, okay, I must remember how and what I do to cope when things get a little nutsy. And they just continue to get nutsy, more nutsy every day. So how are you thriving? And how are you doing? I know in addition to what's going on the national front and locally, we each have things that are going on in our lives. And so we have learned and are continuing to learn how to balance all of this, because that's what we do. We can't really compartmentalize and say, I'll deal with this and not with that. But we must continue to thrive. We must continue to keep our guard up. This is not the time when we would want to slip up, because we want to remain diligent in maintaining our self-care and taking care of ourselves, and so here we are. I as I think about all the things that are going on, I was looking at this term called, I think it's called temporal distancing, and what it helps helps us to do if we're going to do it. That is to look at something, is to zoom out of whatever the experience is, and I guess what I would say is to consider looking at this experience, what we're going through now, and just think about how you would like to tell this story 10 years from now, how you would like to tell this story, and how you could say what really mattered and what was important. Now, temporal distancing is taking an experience which is probably negative and zooming away from it, temporarily distancing it and locating it in the future, where you can look at it a little more positively. How would you write this story? I would say, well, I know for me, I'd probably say, well, 2020 was a year that I will never forget. And the things that I did to maintain my sanity, and I'm just imagining. And so I'm just probably suggesting that you think of how you would tell your story. How do you want that story to sound as you would tell someone, well, these are the things that I did to maintain my sanity. This is the support that I received, and we we kept in touch with each other virtually, and we didn't lose our cool. We remained connected, but because we discovered that being connected was healing. And so what matters now? We know what matters now, but what if we're going to look back in 10 years ahead and think, how will I tell this story? And you can say, well, what really mattered was, now that would have to be what you would say, because what might matter the most to me might be a little different to you. Because I asked someone about were they stressed and feeling quarantine fatigue, and they said no, they didn't feel any quarantine fatigue. And I said, oh, were they stressed? And they so obviously we're all having different kinds of feelings and different kind of reactions, and we are looking and listening to ourselves. But the main thing is just to remember to stay safe. We're still in this pandemic, in spite of whatever different people believe. And winter, fall, whatever is approaching is going to be with us. And we just want to thrive and make it through. And so things are going to continue to happen, especially as election draws closer. We want to make sure that we take care of ourselves and look at how we're reacting. We don't. We want to look at even the anxiety, and we don't want to spiral out of control. We listen to ourselves. We know. So stay in touch with each other, and think about how you would want to possibly tell this story. What would you say that what mattered most was this, and how did I respond? What matters most for me right now is checking in with you and sending you a little love and letting you know that I care, and we are seeking to thrive together, and that brings joy to my heart. And I pray that you'll continue to be well and to have some joy in your life, we can't really put our lives on hold until this is over, because we don't know when this is going to be over. So I'm trusting that you're living an intentional life and you're dealing with whatever you're feeling, all uncertainties or however you're doing it, but you're dealing with it positively. We're doing that well-being, positive well-being. We're thriving, and we're going to do it. So until next time, be safe, love you, and take care. Night-night.